Everybody, and welcome to Monza in Italy. Oh my word, we have had some cracking races recently. If you are new to this series, if you are only tuning in for the very first time, go back. All previous episodes are on my playlist. You can watch all of them. The first few episodes, of course, this was me getting used to YouTubing and streaming and everything for the first time. So I did a lot of really long videos where I was going through the full in-depth nature of every little nook and cranny, including every single practice and everything. Now for the more recent videos, you're seeing that a lot of videos are a lot shorter, verging on around about the hour and a half kind of mark, because we are only focusing on the qualifying and then the race itself, and then of course if there's anything important that you need to know, I show you that at the end. So how are we doing so far? Well, of course we are now up to 8th in the drivers standings, 8th in the Constructors Championships. Due to 2 races ago in Belgium, we managed to finish in our first ever points finish, finishing in 5th place due to 8 drivers retiring due to various crashes. Last time out in Zandvoort, we were pushing right on the end. We were so close to getting into the points for a second race running, but just missing out in P11. Now we're going for Monza. I've gone quite aggressive for the straight setup in this one. Hopefully that we're going to do really well with this. We of course we did take a grid penalty last time out for getting an additional engine components for both drivers. However, we did not use them. I wanted to save those brand new ones. We still use our slightly older ones. This is the one where we're going full out. We used our virtually brand new engine. Both all the engine, the ERS and the gearbox are around about the 98-97% mark, so virtually brand new. They've literally been used in one first practice session, so that we were able to make sure that we got that gearbox penalty. But here we go, looking into this race. In the first practice, Alexander Albon in P17, Jack Doohan back of the grid. Going into practice 2, Alexander Albon in P9 and Jack unfortunately still P20. And in practice 3, Alexander Albon P10 and Jack a little bit higher in P15. Now what we've also done coming into this race, due to the incredible results that we've been getting recently, we have been getting a lot more consistently higher in the standings. I have gone for the first time, I'm going for a sponsorship bonus, so we are looking to guarantee that we're going to finish in P15 with at least one driver in this race. How are we going to get on? I really don't know. As you can see, 90% confidence in the setup for Jack and 92% for Alexander Albon. As you can see, engine, ERS, gearbox, all brand new components virtually there. So we're going to go for this into qualifying.
Radio check. Copy, radio check.
Okay, so there goes an Haas already. Jack is going to go out first of all. Going to give him a little bit of space. It's very important we do that. There's another car coming out, so we're just going to let that one pass. That Mercedes, don't want to get in their way. Give him a little bit of room, and then there goes Albon. There we go, nice amount of gap to each other. Just get round the grid, and then we're going to be on board with Jack as we go round Monza. Lots and lots and lots of high speed straights, a couple of very slow corners, but mostly this is all straight or fast corners. Here is one of those very few instances of a slow corner, turns 1 and 2. As we come down past turn 3, going into turn 4, a big, long, fast right-hand turn onto the straights, and here we come into turns 5 and 6. Nice slow chicanes here, and then again onto speed, a little bit much shorter space, onto turn 7, a nice long bend into a long straight, and then coming around into turn 8, and then here we go. The 2 biggest long straights Again separated by a small chicane about halfway down. So both green, of course not going to go purple, not with the Mercedes on the track. Here we go, coming down to the final bend. Right before we hit into the pit straight. Jack again has gone green. So Guan Yu Zhou doing a 123.4. Jack about 4/10 off that, and Alexander Albon is still coming down the main pit straight. It was actually George Russell. It was George Russell, not excuse me, not bloody hell, Hamilton, as I expected. Albon does go faster than Jack, so Albon currently 3/10 off Guan Yu Zhou, Jack currently 4/10 off. So Jack, we are going to send out for another flying lap on the same, or do we maybe go for 2? You know what, I'm going to send him out for 2 flying laps. Albon, we're just going to send out for the 1 flying lap. Just want to make sure we don't possibly lose out, of course, in terms of pit wise. I expect Jack's going to be able to get around all the way around, but you never ever know, do you? And currently Mick Schumacher, Ocon, Stroll and Vettel all currently slower than us. Now there are going to be a couple of grid penalties for this race, I do believe, for of course engine wears. Nothing in practice that was due to time penalties. So Jack currently slower in sector 1 compared to his first lap. Alexander Albon does go faster. Jack still not faster in sector 2. Alexander Albon though does go a little bit slower. Can he manage to get a really good sector 3? There are cars up ahead of him. Are they going to get in the way and slow him down? Hopefully. I think they might just be out of the way in time. I think they actually went into the pit. And I do believe Albon has managed to increase his final lap time. So of course Jack currently on a cooldown. Oh, and Alex has just spun. Alex has just spun, which is not good.
Like we've had a spin. Let's take a look at the replay. Now watch this. Here's the moments involving Albon.
Oh, just caught the inside edge of the curve there on turn 4, which just took him out there, unfortunately. And here we go, here's Jack coming into the pits. There's plenty of time to spare. Oop! And as I say that, here now get the cars getting ready to go. So I'm just going to make sure he's only set up for the 1 flying lap. Want to see if we can be one of the last cars on the grid on this occasion. So Jack has been going out first on each of the previous occasions. Albon will be the one to go out first on this occasion. Currently, both drivers are out of the drop zone. It is only Ricciardo, Mick Schumacher, Ocon, Stroll and Vettel. To be honest, I imagine at least 3 of those will remain in the bottom. But you never know how things are going to turn out. So we've got about 10 seconds left to cross the line. Oh, I think Jack actually might miss the cut. Jack actually does miss the cut, so he will not be able to improve. We messed up there, unfortunately. But Alexander Albon has managed to get across with literally seconds to spare. And somebody's locked up in Sector 2. But because Albon is a bit further back, he's hopefully going to be able to miss out. It was Pierre Gasly.
Now look at this. It's Pierre Gasly. Well, they've lost it.
Oof.
They've locked up.
And over the lines there. So he may be helping some people out. He's not going to improve his time. Guan Yu Zhou currently in 11th. Ocon does improve, goes up to P6. Albon is the one who's currently in the top, but he's not improving. He is slower in Sector 1. He is slower in Sector 1 as it currently stands. And he's slower in Sector 2. This is surprising. He has now dropped out. He's dropped into the drop zone. Vettel has improved faster than him. He's got to have a blinder of a final sector. His best lap was 1:23.4. He's got to improve that by a few tenths. Really around about 1:23.4 or so. And what is he going to get? No, he has not improved. So that means currently as it stands, Albon is P18, Jack is P20. Jack unfortunately unable to prove. But Kevin Magnussen has got a grid place penalty. Actually, he's the only driver who's got a grid penalty. I believe that will probably drop him below us in the table. So 18th and 20th. The next table will tell us where we do actually start.
Drivers are
and we do indeed move up one place each driver. Albon into 17th, Jack into 19th. So that must be Magnussen dropping behind us there because of that. Ooh. It's looking a little bit tight for the tyre wear on this particular one. But of course, you never know if there's going to be any safety car, which will of course save on everything. But of course, the big one is the fact that it has been better than is expected in a lot of instances. Tyre wear has definitely been better than expected. Okay, so we're doing a split strategy. Jack hard to mediums, Alexander hard, soft to medium and medium to soft. Literally just reversing it the opposite way round to each other. We're going to drop down our fuel levels for the start, and then of course, as we always do, we are literally going to be going full send right at the start of the race. See if we can get a few early little lap gains. There we go. So, no more dilly-dallying around. Here we go for the Italian Grand Prix at Monza.
It's bright and sunny as the drivers line up on the grid. Here we have Alexander Albon. With their starting position in the back 10, they'll have their work cut out for them. And looking at the second Williams car, they'll be starting the race from the bottom half of the grid, so there's a fair bit of ground to make up. Everything's been building to this. Here we are at the oldest circuit in Europe for this, the Italian Grand Prix. And it's lights out and away we go.
So on board with Alexander Albon, he has, looks like, overtaken Mick Schumacher. Oh, and then Mick Schumacher just coming back. He's going to have the outside line, but that will make sure that he has then the switchback for the inside for the next corner. And there we go. So both drivers move up one place. Jack managing to get ahead of Stroll, and Albon now coming into P15. He's got ahead of Vettel. He is ahead of Vettel. Is now challenging for Guan Yu Zhou right ahead of him. Let's see the overtake from Jack right at the very start, which was coming into the first turn. Again, he had the inside line, well, the outside line going into the inside line. So a wonderful little move there. Now I just want to pause 1 second just so I can see the tyre compounds. A lot of the drivers at the back of the grid going for the mediums. Jack's the only one in the bottom bottom 8 drivers who is on the soft, but of course we are doing the opposite strategy to Albon, so that's why we're doing that. But it means that we can keep an eye on the higher runners in the grid and see what they do, because the AI does tend to just stop that little bit early. On average.
Increase lifting codes. Okay.
And Jack has gained another 2 places.
We see the Williams here.
Looks like he's taken Mick and Vettel all in one go. Right around the outside. Beautiful driving there. Those soft compound tiles really getting the benefit there. So Jack is right behind him there, so I'm just going to leave him pushing a little bit. If he can, I want him to overtake Albon. So what, I'm going to give him the instructions not to fight his teammate, allow him to push past him.
Back off. Copy.
And there we go. So Jack has got the advantage because he has got those faster soft compound tires. I want him to use them and really go for it. So Alex has got Mick Schumacher right behind him at present. Is able to take that first chicane for turns 1 and 2 just that little bit faster because he hasn't got loads of traffic there to deal with. And Jack is again still right behind Guan Yu Zhou and Lando Norris up ahead. Oh, and DRS is now enabled. DRS is now enabled. And Yuki Tsunoda runs a little bit wide, so he's going to lose out a little bit of time there, which is what enabled Lando Norris to get ahead.
That's going to be a big blow to the team. Will they be able to recover? We'll see.
So we are just skipping on that little bit. I don't want to spend too much time watching when we're just stuck in that little bit of training cars. We're just looking to speed on. I don't want to be here for a full 2 hours watching every little thing, as much as I'm sure that a lot of you would love to see that in real life. Alexander, he looks like he's going to be going for the overtake, and he has succeeded. Jack has managed to overtake Guan Yu Zhou. And now he's right behind Yuki Tsunoda. So Jack currently right the way up in P14.
Let's take a look at the replay. Now,
you can see just powering down that pit straight. So much faster straight line speed there compared to the... oh, excuse me. I do apologise. Definitely so much faster than the AlphaTauri there.
I think it's safe to say that went down well with the team.
And Albon has just been overtaken by Mick Schumacher, just losing out on place there. So he's ahead of Vettel, Stroll, and Kevin Magnussen is still down at the back of the grid, not able to make many inroads there. Jack is now managing to pull a little bit of a gap away from Mick Schumacher in 15th. Mick Schumacher is just overtaken Guan Yu Zhou, and of course now Jack is right behind Lando Norris in the McLaren. Oh, sorry. No, I was about to say he wasn't Lando Norris. He's now behind Yuki Tsunoda as Norris manages to overtake Yuki Tsunoda. And tyre wear is looking reasonable. I'm just going to ask Jack just to back off that tiny little bit. But the fuel is very good, so we're going to ask to really push hard on the fuel there.
Reduce the lift and cup. Copy.
And he has managed to overtake Yuki Tsunoda. Jack is up into P13. P13 for Jack Doohan. Albon getting overtaken by Vettel, who of course has had a bit of a point to prove in recent races.
Have just gained a race position. Let's take a closer look.
So again, this was the old switchback going into turns 1 to 2. Outside line getting then the inside line on the way out to give you a little bit of better traction going onto the main straight. You're going to see a lot of overtakes in that particular kind of method this race. Jack Doohan, he's now about 3.5 seconds behind Daniel Ricciardo up in P12. So we've asked him to cool down his tyres a little bit. We're going to ask him just to push on that a little bit harder once again. See if we can just... And we're going to go deploy as well. We want to see if we can just close up that gap to Daniel Ricciardo. 3.7 away as it currently stands. And we've already got it to 2.5 seconds going for the final straight. Wonder, you could just about see Daniel Ricciardo in the distance. Mick Schumacher really dropping behind by about 3 seconds there. So we're going to try and get Jack to really use these soft compound tyres while they last. Around about 79% wear, which compared to the rest of the drivers at the top of the grid, absolutely where we would want to see them. And his fuel is getting back into negative, so we're going to just drop off just a little bit. And Albon has managed to get past Vettel back into P17.
Here's the replay. Now watch this. Here's the moments involving Albon.
And once again, exactly the same. Turns 1 into turns 2, outside into the inside, onto the main straight. Thank you very much. And then we're just dropping back into around about the 3 second mark once again for Jack. So we're doing nicely well here. We're keeping Tsunoda behind and Guan Yu Zhou even further back from that. And there's a yellow flag in sector 1.
Yellow ahead, yellow ahead. Okay, copy.
We can take a look.
Jack's managed to overtake Jack Doohan. And of course just had the DRS. Managed to get straight past him. Didn't have to worry about outside to inside. He was already past him going into turn 1. Now there was a yellow flag. What was the yellow flag for? Is it going to tell us anything there? It was a Bottas lockup. It was a lockup for Bottas into turn 11. Oof. Oh, straight onto the grass. That is going to lose a lot of time. So where is Bottas currently? He is... I'm trying to find him. Bottas is actually down to the back of the grid. So he was a lot further back than I... So, and there's a crash! There's a crash with multiple cars. It has a yellow, so I think it's with the Mercedes.
Watch the Mercedes here.
Oh, went wide and then went into, I believe that is Alonso.
And that was a bitter blow for the team. And it may have really hurt their overall chances.
Bono will be furious if that was Hamilton. Let's just see if we can work out who that was. Well, Hamilton's in second. Ocon fourth. Russell fifth. I think it was Alonso. It was probably Alonso and Russell. But it wasn't for long. There wasn't much you could do with that. I'm just starting to dip that slightly. So I'm just going to ask Jack just to back off a little bit on those tyres. Albon is doing reasonably well. He is up to P16, so he's got ahead of Lance Stroll. For him, tyre wear, we are literally bang on point. Absolutely nothing to worry about there. Fuel a little bit higher, so we're just going to push that a little bit, and we're going to go into overtake. It is Alonso and Russell, because they're both having to pit. So that puts Jack up into P11, Albon now up into P14. Of course, they're probably going to both have to have a change of wing, which is going to really hamper them moving forward. So we're going to ask Albon to go into full deploy. Yes. See if we can just close up that gap now to Guan Yu Zhou. And just stretch that gap away from Lance Stroll behind him. Just going to fast forward a little bit through the end of this, just see how close we can manage to get. It does look like we're now into the DRS range, which is really, really good. So really managing to close up the gap now. So we're just going to go back down into neutral. And as we come round onto the main straight, we're going to go full overtake mode. Can we manage to get anything against Guan Yu Zhou or Mick Schumacher? We're gaining, we're gaining, we're gaining. We're going to have the inside line. I think we have managed to get Guan Yu Zhou, but we're not always going to get the switch back. Oh, but can we manage to get him still on straights? No, we just lose out there. But we're going to still go just a little bit more. We're on the fast corner. We've got the... oh, it is just getting in front of us. I think that opportunity has gone for this particular lap, but we're really close to him again now. Jack Doohan still very, very close to Tsunoda, just dropping back a little bit, close enough a little bit to Ricciardo, but not by a huge amount. Magnussen still at the back of the grid, has just not been able to do anything. Bottas down to 17th because of his lockup, and so of course he dropped right down. Russell and Alonso, they have taken their first pit stop. So just out of curiosity, what tyres did they go on? They've gone onto the mediums. They have gone onto the mediums. So for me, the fact when you look at Jack there and the fact that soft onto mediums is only just about making it, I believe that Russell and Alonso are surely going to have to make a second stop. So they'll probably be doing a soft, medium, soft stop for this particular race. Now I'm going to ask Jack to harvest his ERS because he is incredibly low on that at the moment. But of course the fuel is going up, so we can just afford to push that a little bit more again. But we're going to have the DRS coming down this main straight. We may be able to manage to get him to get the outside line into the inside. Here we go, down towards the corner. But Tsunoda moves to block off that attempt.
Okay, back off.
So just looking to the harvest series just to get back to the more normal levels. Albon there, half a second away from Guan Yu Zhou. So this is the one great thing with the new regulations for this season, with the ground effect and everything. It does mean that you are able to battle harder and longer, which I do really like. Past seasons, very short period of time goes, and then you've had it. You've got to back off, otherwise your tyres degrade. Here we go, going for a move on Guan Yu Zhou. Are we going to get anything? No, we're still behind him for the time being. So here it is, Mick Schumacher, Guan Yu Zhou and Albon all in this little train. But of course you do actually have Vettel and Stroll and Magnussen not far behind them. So we're going to go again full overtake mode, full attack on the tires, going down the main pit straight. Can we manage to get anything this time for Albon?
Yeah, sure.
It's very, very difficult, but we are gaining, we're gaining on Guan Yu Zhou. Are we going to get it again? We're going to have the inside line. I think he will manage to get us out a little bit far over the curbs there, unfortunately. We're right alongside him. Oof. And we just had to back up there, and that allows Vettel to manage to get ahead of us because of all of that attacking. So Vettel really managing to take advantage there.
Yep,
that is unfortunate. So that means Albon drops down to P15.
Aston Martin with a great play there. They've moved up a place.
Guan Yu Zhou. Oh, and there's another crash. There is another crash. This looks right towards the top of the grid.
See the Williams here.
Oh. Oh my God!
You can clearly see the contact there, and that caused a lot of damage.
The rear wing has some minor damage. This is Alexander Albon. Right, I've never experienced the rear wing damage. So what is that going to do for us? Hang on, let me see. Can we see? Right, aerodynamics. Here we go. Right, so we've got some minor damage to the rear wing. That's not something that we can change, unfortunately. And that was Kevin Magnussen driving into the back of us. That is incredibly frustrating. So Albon is now going to be limited coming forward in this race. Hopefully it's not going to affect him too much. But we are going to have to keep a very close eye on this.
Can push through all corners.
So that damage to the rear wing may make us a little bit unstable coming forward. So we have managed to get ahead of Guan Yu Zhou. And now we're right on the back of Yuki Tsunoda. There's another car has run wide. Who's run wide on this occasion?
And that's the lockup.
It was Charles Leclerc right towards the top of the grid.
There's Leclerc. And this,
ooh.
Yes, there, that's the lockup.
Oh, and having to go over the curbs, that's not going to do his tyres much good there.
The team are devastated. They'll be questioning just what happened out there.
So Jack Doohan currently right on the edge of the points. Kevin Magnussen is in the pit. I think he's going to have to change front wings, but he's also got a time penalty for causing that collision with Alexander Albon. I'm going to go full overtake. We're going to try and go past Yuki Tsunoda. And look at that speed advantage we had there. We have literally left Yuki Tsunoda for dust there.
Make sure you give some energy.
I want to see that one again. That was beautiful. Here, that's wide open. And look at the increased amount of speed you get past that. He blew him out of the water. He probably overtook him less than halfway down the straight.
Back in the garage, the team absolutely loved it.
Oh yes, we did. So that currently puts Jack Doohan up into the points, into P10. Tyre wear looking very good. We're just going to drop down. Alexander Albon has managed to overtake Sebastian Vettel.
Here's the moment involving Albon.
Nice little move there.
Gaining a position there.
And it looks like we have lost a bit of tyre degradation because of that incident with the crash, which is really difficult. I'm not sure if our ERS is affected because we. Oh no, there it is. I was worried that it was on 0% for ages, and we didn't literally. So because of that damage, we were impacted by that. But we're clearly not.
We want to leave core, please.
Okay. Let's reduce lifting coast by 1 level. Yes.
So just speeding up that a little bit. Yuki Tsunoda has managed to re-overtake Jack. Of course, that is going to happen. We're battling, but we're not battling, if that makes sense. It's a bit of a strange one. So for Jack at the moment, we are coming quite close to our pit window. So a safety car would be very good sometime soon. If a safety car happened right here, right now, I would switch from the mediums to the hards. And we've re-overtaken Yuki Tsunoda. We've re-overtaken him.
New position, just gained by Williams.
So the closest ones to us tyre wear is Bottas on the same 50%. However, he did have the massive spin out. Hamilton and Ocon, they are 53%. So we're a little bit worse for wear in comparison to the other drivers, but not too bad. And Jack is beginning to close up to the McLarens ahead of Norris and Ricciardo. Jack Doohan just been overtaken by Yuki Tsunoda there. Once again, Albon still in P14, about half a second behind Mick Schumacher, who is right behind Guan Yu Zhou. So we're just going to skip on that a little bit, just allow us to see how things go. And the drivers are beginning to come into the pit. So the drivers in the pit stop, in the lead, who are on soft compound tyres, a little bit higher than us in their wear, are pitting now. So what does that mean? What tyre are they coming out to? Because this will be really important for us, I think, to see. So if they're going on to the mediums, we should be fine. If they're going on to the hards, and they're not, they're going on to the mediums. But their tyre degradation is better than ours. So do we decide to change up and go for the hard compound tyres as opposed? Because then we know that they will get to the end and we can push that little bit harder. Difficult one. If I were to pitch right now, where does this put us at? It puts us in around about P19. So pretty much, it'll be probably ahead of Bottas because Bottas is in 19, but he's just coming into the pits right now. It's around about a 30-second stop, so a safety car would be incredibly helpful. So I want to keep an eye on our last laps and see how we are comparing to everybody else. Who else is on the... So Tsunoda in 6th. We're quite comparable to him at this moment in time. So I'm happy to stay out there for a tiny bit longer. We will start to drop off very, very soon though. And there's Tsunoda into the pits. And we're still staying close to Ricciardo. We're still within the DRS zone, which is just helping to just pull us along. And we're starting to do a 129, so I think this is definitely the time to consider the pit. And we're back to a 1.7. Okay, and of course we will be going on to the mediums. So, Jack, I want you to give absolutely everything you have got for this next lap. So it's currently in P8. And here we go. He is into the pit lane. Guan Yu Zhou's run wide.
Now let's watch this. The Alfa Romeo involved in this one. Well, I don't know what they were thinking there. I
don't know. I literally can't see anything.
Vettel has just pitted.
Interesting. Vettel, who was also on the mediums at the start, is he then going on to the hard compound tyres? Obviously, our tyre wear is a lot worse for wear, which is interesting. Vettel is going on to hard. No, because of that speed, we are lower than and we are going to be pushing it. To be perfectly honest, I'm thinking of going on to hard, because then we can push much harder, much longer. So what I'm going to do is I am going to begin to send it now for
Push.
Albon.
Yep,
So Jack coming out, is he actually in P14, which is fantastic. He's in a really good place here. But Albon, we need to really send this. Just going to push out for how long we got. What lap are we on 22? So that'll give us about 30 laps of running. So I'm just going to push. This is going to be the final lap. So this is going to be the one wrong thing. Hang on, there it is. So we are going to be changing strategy. We are going to be going onto the hard compound tyres. Estimated it will put us up around about apparently it's going to put us out around about P18. We will obviously see about that. We're just pushing as hard as we can for this last lap. Got George Russell right behind us. He is, of course, a faster driver, but we are sending it. We are sending it. And someone's run wide. Someone's run wide in Sector 1. Who was that on this occasion?
Oh, did someone run wide?
It was Alonso, who was just ahead of Jack.
Okay, so there we have the Alpine. Going wide
he
like
ran
that.
wide, but doesn't look like he would have lost too much time, unfortunately, in that particular instance. Jack currently about 4.5 seconds off Alonso as we currently speak. But he is ahead of Tsunoda, crucially. So this is first time in a little while that we're having to make a mid-race strategy change. But of course, if we had not had that impact with Kevin Magnussen, if he had not driven into the back of us, I think we would have been okay there. So here we go on a nice clean pit stop here. Very long pit straight, so it does take a little while to get down around about, I said, around about 30-second lane. But a 2.6 second stop, which is really, really good. Where we're going to come out, I think we are going to lose out definitely to Mick Schumacher in 17th. What about Vettel? We're just ahead of Vettel at this moment in time. Is he going to gain us before we get up to full speed? Oh! And Vettel nearly went into the back of us. That would have been incredibly bad luck for Albon if he'd got rear-ended twice in one race. So just going to ask you to push down.
Increase, lift and coast.
Everything else there. And as you can see, tyres much better there, much better of getting to the end on this strategy. So medium hard is definitely the way to go because unfortunately we got rear-ended. So we're just going to see how Jack is currently getting on. As I said, he's up into P14 and Tsunoda has just overtaken him, otherwise he would have been in P13. Alonso a little bit down the order because he, of course, unfortunately had to, he ran wide. Stroll, I do not believe, has currently pit yet. Actually, let's just pause 1 second. So, at the moment, there are 6 drivers who have failed to pit as of yet, which is Verstappen, Leclerc and Sainz, who definitely won't get behind us. They will definitely get back ahead of us in the grid. But Norris and Ricciardo, they are definitely, I think they would have been doing the strategy that Albon was on. But unfortunately, of course, we had to abandon that because of the impact that we had. George Russell currently in P10 and Alonso in P12, but both of those two drivers I am expecting to have to pit again because of the early stop that they had to make because of their, their crash with each. Sorry, I've got the hiccups at the moment. Do just bear with me while I take a quick little drink just to try and stop those hiccups. So Albon currently down in P19, not a great race for him. Is that rear wing damage just affecting us a little bit too much? We are just going to speed up a little bit and keep an eye on things, but he has managed to get back ahead of Verstappen there. So now he's closing in on Guan Yu Zhou behind and Mick Schumacher then ahead of him. I'll just keep an eye out, and he is maintaining pace fairly well, so I don't think he has been affected a tremendous amount, although ERS does seem quite low in a lot of instances.
You can reduce lift.
So I'm going to ask both drivers just to really harvest their ERS for a little bit. We want to get basically back up to full 100% so we can really begin to push again. And Albon does manage to get ahead of Guan Yu Zhou, and Guan Yu Zhou gets back ahead of him.
A position gained for Alfa Romeo.
So Jack has finally managed to get his full DRS again, so we're going to go back into neutral, and this will allow him. Verstappen is finally into the pit, so this must mean that Norris and Ricciardo are not going to be too far away. And they are in. So Norris and Stroll are in, and Doohan manages to get ahead of Stroll. Norris has picked, and we are now behind Norris next. How far behind? And he's up into P12. P12 there. I think Albon is going to overtake Stroll on the pit.
And there's an overtake from Williams.
Oh, I think he's right with him there. And there's a yellow flag. Someone's locked up. Who has locked up on this occasion?
I think there's been a lock-up.
It was Schumacher.
Right, watch this. There's Schumacher. Just a bit too heavy on the brakes. And
so that has enabled Stroll, Vettel. Oh, and I think he has been overtaken.
Such high hopes today.
So that means Mick Schumacher has gone behind, gone from 15th down into 20th. Down into 20th at this moment in time. Jack Doohan again having a phenomenal drive. Currently P12 right behind Norris, but he's around about 6 seconds behind. So we're going to ask him just to again push that a little bit. And we're just making sure that we're ahead of Yuki Tsunoda because Leclerc is into pit. Daniel Ricciardo cannot be too far away. He's got to be coming into pit fairly soon. Just using that ERS that we just harvested a few laps ago, just to try and close the gap to Norris, but also pull away from Yuki Tsunoda.
Just use the overtake.
Yep, copy.
So really using this ERS right down the main straight. Again, just like I said, just looking to pull away from Yuki Tsunoda. Around about 50 seconds, so we're going to go back down into neutral. Fuel going into negative, so we'll just ease off there a little bit there. And Albon is now up into P17. P17 for him, as it currently stands. He needs to go back down into user. Let's see that overtake over Vettel.
Here's the moment involving Albon.
Once again, one of these ones we're so familiar with in this race, outside to the inside line. Actually managed to get him way ahead of the chicane. So he's able to close up there a little bit more to Guan Yu Zhou earlier than probably expected. So we've got about 20 laps to go in this remaining race. Definitely a few drivers who are going to pit again. So is there a possibility that we may get into the points once again with Jack Doohan, the man who we hired to replace Nicholas Latifi? And Ricardo is finally in. Ricardo's finally in, so we are just going to really push. We want to see if we can possibly get ahead of Ricardo, if at all possible. So we're just going to be on board. And Ricardo is already out of the pit lane. So I don't believe Jack is going to be able to get ahead of him. Although it is going to be mighty close. You can see him rapidly catching up. He's really closing down the gap there. And he's now already right behind him. So I was beginning to overheat a little bit for Albon, so we're just going to ask him to back off that little bit, down into 0. I definitely think he's having a little bit of a harder time closing the ERS today, unfortunately. So like I say, Russell and Alonso, I'm certain that they're going to have to pit again, which at this current moment in time would put Norris up into 8th, Ricciardo to 9th, and Jack into 10th. But of course, we're not going to settle there. We want to get even higher in the grid. We want to overtake Daniel Ricciardo. And is he going to go for it now? We're going to go full overtake. Really look to push this. He's going to get the inside line round into the main bend of this. He's alongside, he's got the inside line, and he's going around and he's pushing really, really hard.
DRS is currently disabled.
He's managed to overtake him, and then Tsunoda is going to really go for it as well.
That was good.
And we have managed to do it. So both Jack and Tsunoda have both overtaken Daniel Ricciardo. Unfortunately, that has left him out to dry just that little bit. Really good manoeuvre there. Still our tyres bang on point, exactly where we want them to be. A safety car would come in extremely handy. No drivers are currently lapped. However, with the times being around about the 125, I would say that probably Mick Schumacher is around about 10 seconds back away from going to be getting lapped. Safety car would just enable us everything to get neutralised and enable us to hold down those tyre wear just that little bit. Thus far, in all the races I've done so far, whenever a safety car has come out, we've never been in a position where we have really had more than 2 laps under the safety car. Never more than 2. So it'll be interesting to see what happens if we were to get one. Tsunoda trying to overtake Albon, but oh, everything's got the inside line. Is Albon going to stay ahead? And I think for now he definitely is. He's going to be going for the inside line. And Yuki Tsunoda does manage to get ahead of Jack. So Jack drops back down into P12 as it currently stands. So again, we're going to be coming down back towards the main straight. Alex is unfortunately just dropping back a little bit, so we're going to go back to nice and aggressive
to push on with
and go neutral with his ERS. Yes. Need to push back on the fuel there with Jack.
We want to leave court, please.
Sorry.
And so Daniel Ricciardo has dropped back out of the DRS range. Albon currently down into P9. I'm very sorry, but you are clearly obviously struggling with that rear wing damage, and I think that is just unfortunately what's doing it.
Let's take a closer look. All eyes on Kevin Magnussen here. They take us.
I do feel sorry for Albon. He's just struggling in a race that it was just not his fault. He just literally couldn't do anything with that crash. He just literally got ran into the back of, unfortunately. So here we go again. Ricciardo has managed to catch back up, so maybe he'll just conserve his tyres a little bit, just drop him back just to save them a little bit. Jack only down 63%, but pretty much right on board where he would want to be. He's got the DRS on Sonoda. Is he going to be able to make the pass? He's not on this occasion, and we're just going to ask him to harvest this ERS. So we want to save this for the back end, see if we can go for another big push and go into overtake on this occasion.
He's overtake.
He's going to really look to send this now. Is he going to manage to do it? I don't think he is again on this occasion, so again back down into harvest. But Bottas is really far away, so he's not had a good race at all in this one again. Everyone has done one stop. There you can see, if we just pause for 1 second. So as it currently stands, Russell 44% on the mediums, Alonso on the 43%. They are 100% going to have to stop again. Hamilton 59%, is Perez on 58%. They're around about the same as what Jack is, so they should make it in. So the only two I can see at this moment in time is literally Alonso and George Russell, who are going to stop again based on where we currently are. If we're talking about an estimate of an extra 30 seconds for George Russell, I think he would probably just drop below Bottas, probably maybe about a second behind Bottas. Alonso is another 11 seconds back, so may possibly just get ahead of Lance Stroll. So I think they'll be in that order, but behind Bottas. That would be my estimate. So we'll be interested to see what my predictions are like at that time. And we've got 13 laps to go in this race. 13 laps to go. So doing really, really well. So Albon has managed to catch back up with Magnussen again. And they're in that little change, Stroll in 15th backwards. Alex just struggling that little bit to do too much. As we're going to come round past this, into the main corner, we're just going to ask him to go into overtake. See if he can have a go.
Yep,
have a go here. Go on.
Yep, copy.
Of course, then we've got the chicane. He's going to close really close up. He's about 3/10 away from the mean. He's pushing and he's closing the gap. He's closing the gap to Magnussen. Is he going to do it before this one, or is they going to end up in a straight line? Yeah, as they come round, he's a little bit on the outside line, so a tiny bit slower around the bend. And here we go, really pushing hard down the main pit straight. Are we going to manage to get anyone? Here we go. We're pretty much 3 wide going down the main straight. I think we're going to get Magnussen. We're going to get Magnussen. Excuse me. Oh dear, do apologise. We have managed to get Magnussen. Are we going to get Vettel as well? Stroll has been overtaken by Guan Yu Zhou, so Zhou up into 15th. Are we going to be able to get anything here?
From Williams.
Not on this occasion. So we're going to drop back down into the neutral. So we've managed to gain 1 place there for Albon. Going back to the battle between Tsunoda, Jack and Ricciardo. All still as it was. Been saving up the DRS, so we are going to go into overtake. We're going to see if we can have a go on Tsunoda.
If needed.
We're going to just go a little bit more aggressive on the tyres. We're going to go a little bit more aggressive on the fuel. Just see if we can have a go. See if we can get him down on the main pit straight.
So heads down, focus.
Copy.
And we're going to have the outside line. Oh, we're going to get him before we even get to the chicane. Into turns 1 and 2, and we are back ahead of Yuki Tsunoda.
Great job. Okay, back off.
Copy.
And a new position, just gained by Williams.
And Albon has overtaken Vettel. He's up into P17, now right on the back of Guan Yu Zhou and Lance Stroll. From a selfish point of view for the team, I hope Albon finishes in 17th. I know that's horrible, but of course he has a $700,000 bonus, which at this stage, every tiny bit of money that we earn is so valuable. Every single race. So has anyone yet to be lapped? Only Mick Schumacher as it currently stands. Alonso and Russell are still hanging on with their tyre wear, but they are absolutely going to have to stop again. How were their times? They were actually faster than Jag. Of course, they do have faster cars. For Alonso, it was by about half a second. For George Russell, it was by about a full second there. So it's going to be the... Oh, and Jack has locked up. Oh, my God. No.
Now we see the Williams here.
Oh, that is unfortunate. That is really unfortunate. We need to see how quickly he's able to get back on track. Hopefully he's only behind Ricciardo still. And...
They've locked up and gone straight on.
Yes, we know that, Crofty. You're a bit late to the party there, pal. So, we are still behind Ricciardo, but we have dropped that a little bit. So, we need to push on that a little bit. We need to go into deploy. We need to catch back up to him. It's very important because of those pit stops that will be coming for Russell and Alonso. At this moment in time, if they do pit, we need to be ahead of Ricciardo because at the moment we would finish... If Russell and Alonso don't get back ahead of us, that will mean that we finish in P11. I so want Jack to manage to get into the points again. So we're just looking to close that gap, close it back up. We're 1.7 seconds away. We do have really good straight line speed in this race, and it looks like Ricciardo is trying to battle with Tsunoda, which is really good for us. If the more they squabble, the slower they go, the faster that we can catch up to them. We're about 1.5 seconds behind them as it currently stands. And they're much closer to us now. There is the scene of the climb, about 1.4 seconds back. As for Albon, still 17th, right behind Guan Yu Zhou and Stroll. Well, now behind Stroll because Guan Yu Zhou manages to overtake him. Stroll on the soft compound tyres compared to us on the hard. So it will be a little bit difficult, but we do have a lot of things going for us. Right about 1.5 seconds. Again, we've got to be careful not to push too hard with the tyres because, of course, we are quite limited. If there was a sudden safety car, it would be something very, very tempting to take that and go for the softs. It would be very, very tempting indeed. Jagged is beginning to drop off again, so we need to push on. We need to push back on. We need to try and close this gap. It's really unfortunate.
Use the rest.
I mean, tyre wear, Russell 35%, Alonso 34%. Surely they're going to come into pit. Surely they're going to come into pit. What was their last lap times? So they're still doing reasonably well. They're not dropping off tyre wear, sorry, time-wise.
So what DRS?
Copy.
Still around about that 2.5 seconds back. That lockup was really, really unfortunate. And Bottas is beginning to catch up with that a little bit. Oh, this could be such a disappointing end to the race for Jack. It really, really could be. He did so well. He's pushing, he's doing everything he can. He just cannot get close enough. And Tsunoda has managed to get back ahead of Daniel Ricciardo. Again, hopefully they're going to be squabbling. Albon down in P18 as it currently stands.
Let's reduce lifting close. Yep, sure.
So we're down to about 5 laps remaining. 5 laps remaining. Tyre wear for Russell down to 29%. Alonso down to 28%. Surely those tyres will not last much longer. With 5 laps left to go. What was their last lap time? Still in the low 126s. So comparable still to everybody else. Jack around about 3 seconds off, and he's finally been overtaken by Bottas. I think we are going to achieve our bonus, because obviously we said we're going to guarantee finishing at least 15th. Magnussen is about 16 seconds off that at the current present moment in time. We're just on board with Russell. Just interested to see, is he at all going to come into pits? He might just stay on, you know. He might do it, which will really surprise me. I mean, he's still battling. He's managed to get ahead of Gasly there. Sector 2, there's a yellow flag.
Someone's run wide.
It was Hamilton, who is currently in P4.
Now watch this. Lewis Hamilton involved in this one. They've taken
that was a wide line, but he doesn't gonna lose too much time, because of course he was behind a Haas as well.
5 laps.
Russell into the 125s. Jack is into P13, so does that mean I think he's managed to get past Bottas again?
And there's an overtake from Williams.
We missed that, so let's watch this one again.
Now we see the
here we go, usual one. Down into turn 1, outside line, switch back into the inside line for turn 2. Nicely done. So 3 laps to go here. So we can definitely push on a lot more than a lot of people would suggest. Sector 2, yellow flag. Someone I'm presuming has probably gone wide.
I think we've had a car run
It was
wide.
actually Albon. Albon ran wide.
Now watch this. Here's the moment involving
oh
dear,
he ran
dear.
wide, but he
Far
didn't
wider than-
lose a position, which is really, really good. Albon currently in P18. He's on full attack mode.
Full deploy. Yep, copy.
We've only got a few laps left. We're about 1.3 seconds behind. If we could beat out Stroll and beat both of the
That's 4 laps.
both of the Aston Martins, that is where I'll be happy. I don't want him to go ahead of Guan Yu Zhou, because I don't want him to have the bonus payout. And obviously there was a situation 2 laps ago where he actually crashed out, and it was generally his fault in Spa, and he got a bonus which, in my opinion, he was not deserving of. So Alonso and Russell still managed to go. Sector 1, there was a yellow flag. Multiple car crash! Oh! What has happened here? Could it be a safety car? What has happened? And another car's run wide.
Cars have crashed. Here's the replay. All eyes on Kevin Magnussen.
It was Magnussen again. Oh, and he's taking out his teammate.
The crash. Mark my words, there'll be questions asked.
Oh no, he's taking out Guan Yu Zhou.
Look at that. They've run wide.
So as it currently stands, hang on, let me see. Oh, get out of the way. Right, here we go. So Albon is currently P17. Guan Yu Zhou's got a time penalty. It was actually, so it was Guan Yu Zhou ran into back of Magnussen. Maybe that's a bit of karma for Magnussen, you know. But Jack currently in P14, Albon in P17. No safety car required. Can Jack manage to get past Valtteri Bottas again? The main pit straight. Still around about 3 seconds off from Yuki Tsunoda up in 12th. So the tyres for Russell down to, and Alonso down to 22%. So surely they're into puncture range. Left. I know the tyres are beginning to get a little bit warm, but of course we don't have long left to go for the race. And looking to go for that move on Bottas. He's got the outside line, which is hopefully going to give him the inside line again. Can he manage to do it? He's alongside of him. Oh, Bottas just managed to get out. Guan Yu Zhou into the pit stop, which is going to put him to the back of the grid for this. We've only got 2 laps of running left to go. 2 laps of running. Albon currently behind both of the Aston Martins, with a bit of the Williams sandwich with them in, but has managed to overtake Bottas. He's got past Bottas.
You're doing good.
And a new position. Just
and Alonso is beginning to do slower lap times. Still not amazingly slow. Not where I'd really want them to be, realistically. But it's one of those things. Jack is currently one of the few people not to actually be lapped. He may manage to get it.
Laps.
Oh, who was that Haas behind him? Was that a lapped car?
Okay, that's good.
Have we just lapped someone? We have actually just lapped Kevin Magnussen, I believe. So a car in P13 has actually managed to lap someone. And someone's locked up in Sector 1. Who was this?
Looks like there's been a lockup.
It was Magnussen. Kevin Magnussen is not doing well. I know your tyres are screaming, but you're right at the end of the race.
Reduce the lift and core.
Copy.
DRS is currently disabled. DRS is currently disabled.
Copy.
You can afford to drop back.
Copy.
Let's just do lift and coasting.
Okay, copy.
Last lap, last lap. Okay, we can easily overtake.
Yeah,
I was debating whether to let Albon just stay in, go back into P17 so we don't have to pay the bonus. But you know what? I want to beat out the Aston Martins. So here we go. We are sending it
Check the DRS.
Copy.
And Albon has finished in P15.
Nice work.
Jack is now on his final lap.
Close this gap.
Jack is on his final lap. 2.5 seconds away from Yuki Tsunoda. Could we manage to catch him up right at the end? Very much doubtful. But you never know. We're going to give it a go. We're going to give it a go. We're pushing with every little bit we've got. But it is going to be too much. But Albon has finished in 15th ahead of Vettel and Stroll. Maybe we could have gone for 2 cars. You know, go for the 2 cars for the sponsorship goal, because we've been doing really well in this regard. So, it does mean we have managed to earn our sponsorship goal and earn ourselves around about an extra $100,000, which just helps a little bit with the money that we'd have to pay out to Albon there. And here we are, across the line, finishing in P13. I cannot believe Alonso and Russell managed to hold on with those tyres. Jack said, tough race, but no points. That was really great. Really great race there. Jack is definitely, for me at the moment, the most consistent driver. We've earned a trophy of a high roller. I don't know what that is for, but I am finding it out for you.
Their results here. This was good work.
Indeed, the team has demonstrated technical skill as well as a great deal of heart. They can be really proud of their efforts this weekend.
And as this race weekend comes to a close, the team is 8th in the constructor standings.
Meet us next at the Marina Bay Circuit for a breathtaking race through the streets of Singapore.
The high roller one is to achieve a sponsor guarantee. So we guarantee that we would finish at least one time in 15th or higher, and we have absolutely done that by getting both drivers there. Jack with 16 places made up. Is that the most amount? That is indeed. So Jack going from 19th up to 16th. An incredible drive there. Albon, it was difficult because of that damage to the rear wing. So very unfortunate for him. How does that leave us at the bottom? Jack remains in P14. Kevin Magnussen having a shocker of a race. And Alexander Albon remains in P19 with still yet to score in this season. We remain in P10 behind McLaren, who just strengthened their gap from us by an extra 2 points that they've earned in that race. Haas still down in 9th with 8 points, and Aston Martin down at the bottom with a single point. So Jack, not an experience on this one, but Albon does get a developmental point. So we're going to be spending that. So there you go. We got the sponsor performance guarantee of $109,083. What a random amount. Just make it an even 110, you know? That would be better. And there you can see we got the bonuses given out to both drivers. I feel bad that Jack literally only gets 10 grand, but that's the way it is. That is literally the way it is. So that is going to pretty much do it for that episode. We will be going to, I believe that's Singapore next, which will not be for another 2 weeks. Yes, it is the Singapore Grand Prix. So we've got the next 2 weeks off. Coming up, we've got a couple of parts that are being manufactured. Then some sponsorship things, and then we're going to have some scouting next week. Actually, you know, we're going to skip through to the scouting because we were scouted Bottas and Gasly, and we've got another one going for, I believe it's Ocon actually. The changes, right? So there was a vote last week for the regulation changes about the financial, basically reducing the cost cap by another 5 million. And as you can see, that has been voted in, 6 votes to 4. Aston Martin, surprisingly, You know, you'd think that they would want a cost cap to come in. Them, Alpine, Red Bull and Ferrari have all voted against it. McLaren, Mercedes, Williams, Haas, AlphaTauri and Alfa Romeo have all voted that in, so that will be coming in next race. Everyone's talking about Williams as they exceed everyone's expectations. Yes, we exceed our expectations brilliantly once again in that race. Thank you to the board. And of course, the smoothness could be improved, but of course, we need to improve Alexander Albon. He has got a development point, so we are going to improve his defending, which is a big one that we've been working on. Just trying to get that up to speed a little bit. So that is now tied with the lowest one that he's got. So cornering is definitely something we will want to work on coming up soon. Braking reactions is okay. The accuracy, yeah, that might be something to work on. So we're getting there. Still not improved his overall potential compared to everything previously. So we're going to skip through and get to that scouting and just see where we are. I'm just interested to see, do we consider this in the future? We've got Albon at the moment and we've got Jack. Jack's got a very good young potential, but we just want to see, could Albon be could Albon be improved? I believe no, so the new side pods have not yet actually been installed, so we're going to install the new side pods on both cars, which is hopefully going to give us a nice bit of boost. Let's just double check everything else, make sure that everything we've got is in place. The rear wing is fine there. Oops, there, the side pods are now on, the underfloor that we developed, and then the suspension as well. So everything has been installed that should be installed. So if we just go back. So you can see there was a big boost in a lot of areas, especially the drag reduction. The drag reduction for those, you can see, went from around about 41% up to 60%. That is massive. That could give us some really good straight line speed. That is really good to see. So we're going to see how everything goes there moving forward. And we're going to have the scouting complete in the next day, which will be the 21st of September. Here we go, Valtteri Bottas. So, he is 33 years old. So, of course, when you look at it, his growth potential and his aggression is very low. So he's not going to improve that much more. But he is 87 rated. His contract, he is the same as Albon currently. Now, if we wanted to buy him out as his contract, that would cost us $11.5 million, almost $12 million. He's got a race target bonus of nearly $2 million, but of course that is finishing 5th. So, he probably wouldn't get that much with us here with this. Let's just see, where is he actually in the standing? Has he actually finished 5th or higher in anything so far into circuits? So, 9th. 6th, 7th, 12th, oh my god, 8th, 8th, it doesn't look like it, 7th, he has there, so he did manage to get it in Baku. So he managed to get there, got 5th place there. In Canada, just missed out in 6th. In the British Grand Prix, down at 11th. In Austria, oh, hang on, did I miss that one? Ah, he actually finished down in 15th on that occasion. It does look like he's been doing worse and worse recently. Down in 11th. Back up to 6th in Hungary. Did he even finish here? I think he may have crashed out. Yes, he did. He didn't finish. He was one of those that crashed out, unfortunately, in Spa. Then in Zandvoort, how did he do there? He finished in 6th. And then in the race we've just done, of course, we beat him in 14th. So Bottas really actually hasn't done that well. He really hasn't done that well. So, oh, hang on a second. Pierre Gasly's only got 3 months left. This is interesting. So he's 84 rated, so he's higher. Right. So he is a lot more affordable when it comes to a buyout, because it's literally the end of this year with AlphaTauri. If I were just to compare him, let's first of all say with Jack. So we could buy out Jack's contract for relatively cheap if we wanted to. If we were to compare and change him to Alexander Albon to replace Albon, I mean, salary-wise, they're about the same. So we would have to pay a lot more. Ooh. Pierre Gasly is an interesting concept for the end of the season. Ooh. Tell you what, I'm going to have to keep an eye on that over the next month or so. Because he is not a bad shout. If he's right towards the end of his contract and we could get him for the next season, ooh, that is going to be tempting, because I mean, Jack has done incredibly well, do not get me wrong, and he's a young, high potential. Oh, I'm going to have a think about this. Obviously, we've got Esteban Ocon as well. We're scouting him. So, we will have to see. Oh, Jack's got an unused development point. I didn't realise. I thought I'd spent it all. So, that's his smoothness. Still on 73 rated. So, we're trying to improve him, and we're doing it all season, but he's not improved in his overall as of yet. Of course, he's got many, many years left to go. Ooh. This is definitely going to have to do a lot of thinking. But for now, that is going to do it for the end of this episode. We're literally going to go through to the Thursday where the facility will be upgraded, which would then be an ideal point to stop, as we'll be getting ready for the Singapore Grand Prix, which will be next episode out. And it's our CFD simulator. That is a big one. That is a really big one. So that's up to level 3. So when we're doing our testing, we get much better results from those testing that we do. That is really big. We want to do that as well, but we're 12 million away. This is the difficulty at this moment in time. Do you spend a lot of time in developing all your facilities, or do you spend the money going for better drivers? It's a difficult conundrum to have. It's a very difficult one to have, which is why Pierre Gasly could be a very interesting proposition. But that is going to do it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day. Catch me later for the next episode. And until then, goodbye.